Quickly before we start, I just wanted to explain what my process is. So I chart every game. What does that mean? It means I watch these games, whether it's on the broadcast angle with the replays, so I can kind of see everything that's going on, or the all 22, or I start with the broadcast, go back and check all the plays that I'm not sure about with the all 22. I grade every throw, I grade every drop back. So I put throws into 6 buckets. There are elite throws, which are really special. These are typically deep balls. I consider a deep ball anything deeper than 30 yards. I know a lot of people consider them more than 20 yards, but I think there's a very different kind of throw that goes 20 to 25 yards from one that goes 30 to 50. Elite throws are very rare. They're typically perfect deep balls and anything over 50 air yards that is accurate and catchable. A great throw is a perfect second level throw, and a lot of the time these are also considered big time throws by like PFF. It's usually a ball that's 20 to 30 yards downfield, maybe 15 to 30 yards downfield, depending on the placement, the tightness of the window, the context surrounding that particular play. Also, if you throw a deep ball that's like 35, 40 yards downfield and it's catchable, but it requires like a great effort from the receiver, that'll be a great throw rather than an elite throw. A solid throw is the most common kind of positive throw, and elite, great, and solid throws are all above average. These are typically 8 to 12 yards downfield, or if you throw an accurate ball on a coverage bust or like an accurate jump ball downfield, those are also solid. Routine throws are most throws. These are checkdowns, screens, quick slants, RPOs, things like that you consider routine. Everybody should always hit them, right? The easy stuff that you think that even a game manager should always hit. Bad throws are inaccurate passes or batted balls, typically. Sometimes batted balls aren't the quarterback's fault, but usually they are. These don't mean incomplete passes. They mean passes that are not catchable. Whether that's an accurate pass that's thrown into like extreme traffic or certain kinds of hospital balls, or it's just a ball where like the quarterback completely missed. It's bad. An interceptable ball is not necessarily an intercepted ball, but it is a ball that a cornerback or a defensive back should intercept. A tipped ball almost never counts as an interceptable ball. That's a bad throw. It's tipped. But what happens after the tip is not the quarterback's fault. I also don't differentiate between interceptable balls if it's like a pick six versus not that bad of an interception. Now, I will take context into account if it's like third or fourth down or it's a desperation situation where you basically just have to chuck the ball up and hope. And like, yeah, maybe it's going to get picked, but nothing else would have been a reasonable solution. Josh Allen does this a lot, right? On like 3rd and 20, he'll just air it out, throw a deep ball. Worst case scenario, it's picked. It's like a good punt. There are other aspects to the game though. There are sacks, right? Some sacks you blame the quarterback for, some you don't. There are throwaways. Those aren't aimed passes. They shouldn't count that way. I break runs down into positive, neutral, and negative. A positive run is a run that is at least as helpful as a solid throw, and then like I assign points accordingly. So a 10 to 20 yard run is typically 1 point positive run, 20 to 30 2 points, etc. Neutral runs are about as good as a check down. I no longer count successful quarterback sneaks or any quarterback sneaks. Quarterback sneaks have become such a product of the offensive line that you can only do them poorly, you can't do them well. Bad runs, this is a bad decision, a slow run, or a failed quarterback sneak that like is clearly on the quarterback. A bad run can be for as many as like 2 yards, depending on the situation, or like if it's 3rd and 20 and your quarterback takes off for 5 yards, that's a negative run. You should never be doing that. You should be throwing the ball down the field, even if it's a like contested situation. A plus pocket move can mean a lot of things. It's just really anytime the quarterback does anything other than drop back into a clean pocket and throw the ball on time. If you extend a play, if you avoid a rusher, if you roll out to the left, like I don't count a bootleg as a plus move, but if you extend the play in some way, if you throw while being hit, if you navigate the pocket, that's a plus move. If you get pressured and you overcome it, it's probably a plus move. And then fumbles. I don't care if the quarterback picks it up. You fumbled. You should never fumble. Accuracy is just the percent of aimed passes that are on target, so those first 6 categories. Accuracy plus is I take that number and I subtract the routine throws, and I feel that this is a better indication of real accuracy, because you could throw a screen 10 times in a game and have 100% completion percentage, but you haven't proven that you're accurate. Positive plays are any of the 3 positive passes or a positive run. Negative plays are bad or pickable passes, as well as quarterback blame sacks and negative runs. And then PGP is this algorithm that I use values. It assigns point values to each of the different kinds of plays, and then I can also monkey with it if I think that the grade is like totally wrong. Finally, I give grades A plus through F, but that's actually changed. I now give an S grade, which is the top tier. It's saved for like legendary games, like stuff you'll talk about with your kids in 10 years. A C is average. C is like a starting quarterback who you're not so certain about. C is Andy Dalton with the Bengals, right? An F is like this guy pretty much certainly single-handedly lost you this game. An A plus is reserved for great. A B is a really good game. Like a B, if you have a quarterback that consistently gives you a B performance, that is a franchise quarterback. That is a borderline Pro Bowl quarterback in this era. That's really good stuff. So now that you understand what we're doing, let's discuss what we did. Week 7 charts. It was bad. You know it's bad when Jalen Hurts is very clearly the best quarterback of the week, but that's what happened. Jalen Hurts against Minnesota threw 3 deep balls. All were accurate. All were really well placed. And that was the game. He didn't have to do much. They didn't throw the ball a lot. The game was fairly simple. They mostly churned clock. He didn't make mistakes. A plus, best game of his career. It's that easy. Like sometimes the quarterback position is just as simple as if you can do the most efficient thing, throw the ball deep down the field accurately, and you have a good receiver, like A.J. Brown, who is probably a top 2 receiver. Like, it's him and Jamar Chase for me. Then you're going to have a pretty good day. That's it. Similarly, Drake May, 1 for 1 on deep balls, only missed 2 throws. That's really good. Nothing else to say. I mean, like, they played Tennessee. It's a pretty easy game, right? You don't have a ton of pressure. You don't have to make a ton of plays. But he did. He made just enough, right? He had 6 positive throws on 33 dropbacks. Only 2 negative throws. It's that simple. He played clean. It wasn't spectacular. It wasn't a particularly entertaining game. It was over pretty quickly, but Drake did everything he had to do. Aaron Rodgers actually played his best game in a long time in a loss on Thursday night. He was throwing the ball accurately down the field, 2 of 3 deep. I don't count as Hail Mary. I don't grade those. His issue is still he doesn't really manipulate the play anymore. He doesn't really extend or play make. It's just executing or not. And he has, again, even in this game, developed a really bad habit of throwing the ball directly at defenders, whether it's because he's trying to do something that he can't get away with anymore because he has lost like 2% of his arm strength, or more often it's just because he's getting aggressive against zone defenses and defenders are reading it. Matt Stafford got a B plus in the first half, right? The game was over after the first half. It was a gigantic blowout, so I didn't continue grading. It was garbage time, but yeah, Stafford was excellent. It's hard to get more than a B plus when you only have 17 dropbacks. Justin Herbert caught a ton of flack because I guess it's his fault that the Chargers keep on letting up 40 points. I gave him a B on this game. I penalized him a little bit because he did have the one interception in the end zone that was absolutely his fault, and that was a bad play. But I'm not going to punish Justin Herbert for a ball that gets batted at the line by a defensive tackle and picked off. But it's a bad throw. You should never get a ball batted. Dak Prescott is kind of similar. The game was over in the third quarter. He was accurate on his deep ball, but like these weren't precise deep balls. He's not dropping the ball in buckets. He's throwing the ball up, and it's accurate enough that it's catchable, and that's plenty for a guy like George Pickens, who's got like the best ball skills we've seen since Chris Carter. All the man does is win jump balls. Like Plexico Burris type stuff, keep him out the club in sweatpants. But Dak was good. He was a B player, right? He didn't have to maneuver the pocket a ton. He wasn't pressured a ton. He did throw a ball that should have been picked. His accuracy was good, not great. I like what I'm seeing from Dak. He's playing really good football. It's just, I think the MVP talk's a little overblown. I think his stats are a little bit inflated because their defense is so bad and because his receivers are just so dominant. Speaking of dominant receivers, Joe Flacco realized like, oh, I could just spam. I could just entirely spam Jamar Chase and it's going to work. And that's exactly what he did, and it's exactly what worked. Good for him. Carson Wentz cannot throw a deep ball. It's not in his bag. It is not something he has the facilities to do. Sucks. Carson Wentz has a very strong arm, but it's a line drive, and it's not very accurate. He also threw 2 pickable balls. Carson Wentz moved the ball pretty well. He has talent. You can see it. He's good with his legs. You can see it. He's just mistake prone. He makes really dumb mistakes. Otherwise, he would be in the NFL. Daniel Jones managed the game. He did nothing really special. He threw a ball that should have been picked. He fumbled. He had one really lovely deep throw to Alec Pierce, who's awesome. But yeah, Daniel Jones, he's Andy Daltoning. He is managing the game. and the team around him is stacked. Speaking of managing the game, Patrick Mahomes' game was over pretty quickly as well, but not before he threw 2 balls that should have been picked. Like, he was fine. He was fine. It was a C game. But, like, his accuracy was really not good in this game, and he threw 2 balls directly at Raider defenders. I'm not saying Patrick Mahomes was bad. I'm saying this is not the Patrick Mahomes we've been told about. This is not the Patrick Mahomes we've grown to love. Like, if Chiefs fans want to get mad, that's fine, but there's a reason that PFF and every film watcher came away from that game saying Patrick Mahomes is not playing very well. No amount of pretending he's the MVP will make it so. Mac Jones just keeps doing the same old thing. He keeps fumbling, and he keeps throwing routine passes, and it keeps on being enough. As for Bo Nix, that was insane. I gave him a C-. I give him an F- for the first half. I give him a B for the fourth quarter. He was really good with his legs. He was good at manipulating the pocket, but the inaccuracy was insane. He missed 21 passes, and none of them were really interceptable. None of them should have been caught by Giants, but missing 21 passes is not forgivable. 60% accuracy when you're throwing so many short passes is insane. If you take away routine passes that he was accurate on, he was only accurate on 34% of his throws. That's abysmal. Bo Nix is really bad. I mean, like, 2 of his biggest plays were game-changing catches where he missed his target. He had 1 touchdown in the comeback that was deflected off of a defender's arm. Like, a cornerback broke up the pass, and then it bounced straight up and into the back of the end zone where Troy Franklin caught it. That's a terrible throw. And then there's obviously the game-winning drive where he tries to throw the ball to Courtland Sutton on a post and he accidentally hits Marvin Mims. And then Broncos fans are furious, saying, like, no, he definitely meant to throw a back shoulder into double coverage 25 yards downfield to a small drop-prone speed receiver who was very clearly running a decoy route. He didn't mean to throw to his wide-open wide receiver 1, who was the primary read on the play. Okay. Sam Darnold started off the game like killer, like A+, but he threw 2 balls that should have been picked, and he fumbled in the end zone, handing the Texans a touchdown on a sack he never should have taken in the first place. He also was 1 for 5 on deep balls, which is uncharacteristically bad. I didn't think Sam Darnold played very well. I think Trevor Lawrence is on his way out of the league. Nope, that's a lie. I actually think Trevor Lawrence is on his way out of the franchise quarterback discussion. But he's playing terrible, and he's been playing terrible, and it doesn't seem to be ever getting any better. And that's concerning to me. He's not accurate. He seems overwhelmed at the line of scrimmage. He's processing poorly. The mental game really seems to be too much for him. And it's missing the easy throws. Like, yeah, the Jaguars drop a ton of balls. Brian Thomas Jr. is wildly overrated as well. But Trevor Lawrence makes this way harder than it has to be. This offense provides for a lot of easy throws, and he's missing. Like, the first 3 drives were sabotaged because Trevor Lawrence couldn't simply hit the routine plays. Next up, we have Baker Mayfield. Baker was bad. This is the worst game he's played in a long time, probably since Carolina or maybe the Browns. He was 2 of 6 on deep balls. He had 1 beautiful deep ball to Mike Evans that was allegedly dropped when he got knocked out. He had 4 great balls. Like, he did make some really nice throws. 1 to Ibuka on a sail or an over, I'm not sure which. The back shoulder to Evans. Like, he made some really nice throws, but more often it was just the missing throws. He missed 21 throws. He's never missed close to that number of throws. 56% accuracy, only 22% accurate if you take away the quick passes, the short game, the routine shit. I've never seen Baker Mayfield play close to this badly. And I understand, like, the offensive line was terrible. He got pressured 40 times on 49 dropbacks. That's terrible. That also isn't an excuse. He's been pressured all year, right? Like, he was missing balls high because he wasn't stepping into his throws. Now, that might be because Aleem McNeil was applying ridiculous interior pressure, but you have to figure that out. You have to figure out a solution over 4 quarters of a very winnable game. If Baker Mayfield plays a B game, they win that game. That was really bad. Tez Johnson ran the wrong route like at least 3 times. Ibuka ran the wrong route a couple times and looked really, really slow because he's hurt and he was never that fast to begin with. Mike Evans leaving the game stinks, and Mike Evans dropping 2 balls that like really could have changed the game stinks. But Baker has always, with the Buccaneers, been good enough to transcend those things, and in this game he absolutely was not, which is unfortunate because I'm going to skip ahead a little bit. Jared Goff played an F+ game. The fumble, the pick, the bad sacks that he never should have taken, missing easy throws. Jared Goff did everything he could to give this game away. Jahmyr Gibbs refused to let him. Baker Mayfield refused to let him. It was a terrible quarterback game. I also will say I typically don't care about home and away splits and like crowd environment and stuff. But the Lions fans were rabid, and they actually did make a difference. The Bucks couldn't make checks at the line, and that's something they do a lot of. Jackson Dart. I know that Giants fans love Jackson Dart. He's been bad. He's always been bad. He threw 3 balls that should have been picked. His pocket manipulations are great. His recklessness as a runner is great for now, but he's not as talented of a runner as he thinks he is. And frankly, he can't pass. He's dumb. He's inaccurate. He's late. Maybe it gets better. I don't know. I think he's destined to be like a fringe starting quarterback. Cam Ward, yet another week with another ridiculously dumb-looking fumble that was completely unprovoked. He's got small hands, and it shows. He had that one really lovely touchdown pass. I think that was to Iomanor, but I'm not sure. But other than that, it was bad again. The accuracy was not great. A lot of routine, easy, quick passes going nowhere. Cam Ward looks really bad. And it like last year, everybody said Will Levis was terrible. And he was playing decent ball, but the stats just weren't there. The lowlights were there because everything around him was so bad. Cam Ward has worse stats. Cam Ward has worse lowlights. Cam Ward is not a young quarterback. He's like 24. He did 5 or 6 years in college. To the extent that Will Levis looked bad last year, to the untrained eye, Ward looks worse. And to the trained eye, last year Will Levis was a C-plus quarterback, which is like a low-end starter, like a middle 20 or a middle 10 guy. Cam Ward is a D. He's a back 10 guy. And that's evaluating him in a vacuum, understanding that his line is terrible. His coach was terrible. His receivers are mid. But, like, Cam Ward is also a problem in his own right. And it's time to start saying it. Jaden Daniels, vindication, right? This year he's been terrible. You just need to look at this game was bad. D-, threw a pick, fumbled again for no reason. The fumbling with Jaden Daniels these last few weeks has been crazy. But his downfield accuracy was terrible, and it's been terrible. His deep ball last year was downright putrid, but people didn't talk about it because they were winning games. This year has been bad, again, and the rest of his accuracy has been bad, and he's not reading things. And Commanders fans want to say he was thrown to backup receivers, like blah, blah, blah. Well, yeah, they drop balls, but they were open. When I chart, if a receiver drops a ball, that counts as an accurate pass. And still, Jaden Daniels had 7 inaccurate, uncatchable passes on 29 dropbacks, 65% accuracy rating. Only 36% of his aimed passes were accurate and also not routine. He hurt the team a lot more than he helped it. He's a large part of the reason that they were blown out by the Cowboys. I didn't grade Marcus Mariota because once he came in, the game was kind of already over. We'll see next week against the Chiefs. That'll be that game is either going to get my Twitter actually deleted or it's going to make me the happiest boy in the world, because either Marcus Mariota will prove himself in primetime on Monday night against Patrick Mahomes, proving that Mahomes is overrated and proving that he deserves to be a franchise quarterback, or at least he did when he was younger, or Mahomes is going to thrash a bad Commanders defense and Mariota will struggle with an injured, downtrodden Commanders team against the Super Bowl participants. I think things will go badly for me, but if they don't, I'm going to be very smug. Michael Penix got an F+. Almost every game, Michael Penix looks really good in the first half, and then, he looks really good for like the first quarter, and then he just looks unplayable for most of the second half. Like as the game goes on, he loses his ability to hit the broadside of a barn, a county, a hemisphere. It's so bad. He's burning the worms to death. He also cannot handle pressure. When he sees that pressure might be coming, he immediately turtles. He stops processing. He throws the ball very inaccurately. He throws the ball away when he shouldn't. He takes terrible sacks. He alternates between being oblivious and a deer in headlights when it comes to pressure. He's terrified to get hit. And it's weird to me that nobody talks about it, considering that was such a talking point this past summer with Tyler Shuck and his injuries. But Michael Penix has destroyed both of his knees multiple times. The poor guy, it's a miracle he can walk, right? 50 years ago, he'd be in a wheelchair hanging out with Forrest Gump, Lieutenant Dan. But Michael Penix is a really big problem that's really holding back an otherwise very good Falcons team. Speaking of holding a team back, Caleb Williams, yet again, really bad. Now, when you pick off Spencer Rattler a bunch of times, Spencer Rattler had 5 picks and a fumble. One of the worst games of the year by Spencer Rattler. When Spencer Rattler gifts your defense an easy win, you don't notice. But when Caleb Williams is forced to play against teams that are not completely inept, it's going to come to the forefront that Caleb Williams is really, really inaccurate and really not understanding the offense. He's also got a fumbling issue, but we'll get to that at a later week. Finally, the worst performance of the week. One of the worst performances I've ever seen in my entire life, C.J. Stroud, 51% accuracy. 4 interceptable balls and a fumble. 3 sacks that are on him, 2 that were not his fault at all. He on 49 dropbacks, he only had 7 positive throws despite trailing the entire game and slinging it deep with an elite receiver, by the way, in Nico Collins, who he eventually got concussed. This was a terrible game and just the latest entry of proof that like CJ Stroud is not an accurate quarterback, and he never was. We need to give up that idea. That's just not who he is. CJ Stroud labeled himself a ball placement specialist at the combine, and everybody kind of just believed him. But even at Ohio State, accuracy and handling pressure were his two gigantic flaws in his game, despite the fact that he throws a really beautiful ball with excellent mechanics and really good talent. And he's actually a pretty good athlete too. He just it doesn't work, right? If you were just going to watch a quarterback from the moment they take the snap to the moment the ball leaves their hand, CJ Stroud might be the best in the world because it looks beautiful coming out of his hand. It just never lands where it should. And if your mechanics are perfect and your accuracy is bad, that tells me your accuracy is not fixable, because typically you fix your accuracy by improving your mechanics. I don't think that CJ Stroud can be helped. And he was pressured a ton. 22 plus pocket movements is crazy. But we've seen this even when he has clean pockets. Maybe you could argue that the Texans ruined him by getting him hit too much. I don't know if I believe that, but CJ Stroud is a problem that is holding back a team with a great defense and great receivers. Like Nico Collins is a stud. And they got 2 young guys, Noel and Higgins, who are both really good. I believe they also have Christian Kirk, really good. Like, it's not for lack of weapons. It's not for a bad offense, right? This is a Sean McVay offense. CJ Stroud's the problem. Do not get it twisted. I'm not saying that Davis Mills is the answer, because I don't think Davis Mills is great in his own right, but at this point, I don't think it could be worse. All right, what did you guys think? This feels like a more interactive, more in-depth, more fun way to reveal my charts than typing up a big, novel that nobody wants to read. So I think that this is going to be how I do it from here on out. Is there any element you'd like me to add to these kind of videos? Typically, I'd like to get them out on Mondays or Tuesdays, but work has just been nuts this week. So this is the first chance I got, my lunch break on Wednesday. Until next time, I'm going to be trying to get all my bets in before I fly to California and lose the ability to legally wager. Hasta.